Alright, we're back at it again with another One Piece live reaction. This time it's chapter 1165. For me, it's Saturday at about 7 p.m. If you can tell from that window over there, it is already dark outside because the daylight saving says, I'll be honest, I don't know which one it is. Time just changed over, and so now it's dark by about 6:15 my time. So, chapter's been out for about a day, so I am trying to get this out as quick as I can. So let's get into it. One Piece chapter 1165, our color page. Oh, we've got Law and Beppo with Zeus. Let's see. Beppo peacefully sleeping using Zeus as a pillow. And he just decided to include Law sleeping on Beppo. And I just noticed all three of them collectively are sleeping on the big sheep, what's his name? Mink. I can't think of what his name is. It's interesting, though. It's really funny that Oda did that. They wanted one character sleeping on another character, and then they made one character sleeping on another character sleeping, or three characters sleeping on one character with one character laying on another, and that one laying on another. It's just pretty. It's funny. I like it. Did we get an Oda note? We did not get an Oda note for where I'm reading off of. So let's get into the chapter. I guarantee we're going to pick back up exactly where we left off. Clearly, there's no reason to have ended on the note that we did, and we're not going to pick back up. So it's probably going to be Roger and Garp about to intercept Rocks. And, yep, that's where we are. Rocks versus Roger and Garp. And it cuts to him saying, it looks like Rocks is thinking or like shouting out, please. And then it cuts to Garp and Roger. Garp says, you hear that too, right? And Roger says, yeah. And they both kind of have this look like, huh? Conqueror's Haki spewing off of Roger. I believe Garp just had some in the last chapter too. And then it's Rocks rushing at them. And again, we get a please kill me coming from him. He's swinging his blade. It's got, yeah, he's definitely, yeah, Haki coded. His words, the way he's acting, and that look on his face, says Roger as they're about to clash. Roger blocks the swing. None of it adds up, says Roger, as they clash with Haki spewing everywhere. Garp's looking to jump over top and is about to hit him in the face. And Garp nails him right in the face. Conquers Haki, armament Haki, and all. And he really steps into it. And Rocks actually holds his ground really well, while still holding off Roger as well. And then he's able to put through enough force to actually swing down, blow Roger back, and that forces Garp back as well. Garp flies into some rubble, so does Roger, and Rocks is just standing there screaming with Haki shooting off of him. In that moment, we see probably for the first time, this canonically would have been the first time we've seen it in the series, in the timeline, the sky and the clouds actually splitting, just like what happened with Whitebeard and Shanks, and with Luffy, and, well, with Big Mom and Kaido, and with Luffy and Kaido all later in the story, and now we have another group doing it. It's perfect. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It cuts to, the sky is splitting, says the Marines and the pirates. We've got to get out of here or we're going to die. And then we cut to Silver Axe. Let's steal a ship and get off this island, he says to some of the other pirates. Huh? What about Rocks' ship? Dumbass, no one's going back. The Rocks pirates are history, says Shiki. Hurry to the coast, says a bunch of the pirates as they're all running. Vice Admiral Garp, can you repeat that? Garp says, I said get every survivor and Marine you can aboard that ship and cast off immediately. And then we have Roger's ship phoning him in. Roger, what's going on over there? Roger says, get underway. The instant Rayleigh's group is aboard. Wait for me at sea. I'll make it back for sure, he says. And so does Garp. They both toss off their coats, toss their transponder snails. Rocks and Roger. I came to this island to catch the pair of you, but look how things panned out. Roger says, well, all I wanted was to save Shaki, grab some treasure, and bail. Want to call a temporary truce? Roger says to Garp as they look at Rocks. Garp chimes in, can't say I'm thrilled with the idea, but we can't just leave him be. And they're both already battered and bloody. This is absolutely crazy. Rocks lunges forward, attacking Garp. He dodges it and says, hey, Rocks, as he jumps over top. Roger comes back and goes to slice behind him. Yep. Roger comes up, slices behind him, and then Garp sneaks up behind Rocks, then grabs him. He's saying, this form, this curse, can't we undo it somehow? Says Garp as he grabs him by his heel and throws him backwards. Roger's jumping down with another big sword slash. Wake up. Boom. Hockey blows everywhere once again. Hurry, says Rayleigh. Roger won't stop fighting till he's sure we've escaped. It's strange, this hockey, says the pirates. We then cut to Gloriosa running off with Scopper. Nice ship. You don't mind if I tag along, right? The Scopper says, Gloriosa. And then we cut to Kaido and Big Mom. This might be interesting. You listening, Kaido? Consider this a lifelong debt. You'll pay me back one day. Mark my words. And this is actually what we've already seen her say before in the story. And then Kaido cuts to, don't be stupid. You lost fair and square, Linlin. Now watch. I'm going to start a crew where brutality is the one and only law. Linlin says, you've grown bold, haven't you? But you'll never be able to beat me. Linlin, what are you doing? We've got to go. Load up the treasure, says Stroizen. One day, I'll come to collect what you owe. I'll crush you when that time comes, says Kaido back to her. Which is funny because that's just setting up the rivalry that they kind of had come Wano, but they didn't because they clashed and they were like, nah, dude, it's all cool. Like, we're really good. Like, it's not that serious. It's like Big Mom got over it and knew that she was doing wrong by Kaido and was like, it's fine. Alright, we then cut back to Rocks, Roger, and Garp. And Garp is thrown into a boulder. Rocks is throwing Roger into one too. They both get slammed to the ground. We then cut away again. Now we're cutting to Whitebeard, where we see Whitebeard standing there. And then somebody in the background says, you broke the mountain, didn't you, Newgate? And he says, who are you? Says Whitebeard. The guy in the back, the silhouetted character says, looks like your crew's also breaking up. The name's Graham, captain of the Polo Pirates. Polo Graham. He jumps down towards Whitebeard. I'm a big fan. You need a ship, right? Let's join forces. Whitebeard says, buzz off. Don't get in my way. And this is going to be exactly where his pirates begin. And this means Graham, very clearly, is the father of Marco. So something's going to happen to Graham at some point. And he's going to have a kid being Marco. Whitebeard's going to take him. And that means it's really crazy. Whitebeard really took over... took Rogers, who wasn't ever on his crew, but they were friends, his son onto his ship. Graham's son, Marco, later becomes his first commander. Ace was his second commander. Blackbeard was on his ship, the Son of Rocks, and he must have known this too, but again, not one of his commanders, but still. We then cut to, what is this? Stussy saying, hey, where's Newgate? Gansui saying, don't ask me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm in awe at a panel. So that panel with Stussy and Gansui, this has got to be one of those little things Oda's thrown in here. Stussy very clearly looks normal, except she's got treasure with her, right? Gansui looks about the same. Looks like part of his armor was broken off, but he's still fine, and we already know what his fruit is. We then see our buddy, I can't think, Gil Bastar is his name, from Oda's earlier one-shot, also with a bag of treasure, running off. But right next to him, we see what looks to be a ghost, or a hollow ghost, like what Perona has. And the thing about that that's interesting is that is another fruit that ended up on Thriller Bark, which I actually don't know how many other fruit. I mean, we've had other characters from this crew end up on Thriller Bark, like Gansby and like Gil Bastar. But we don't know that any other devil fruits ended up there, because the only devil fruits that we saw being used by Moria and his crew is his own shadow fruit that doesn't seem to be used by anybody. That's it, right? Because Absalom has the clear fruit. We haven't seen anybody show to have that. And then Hogback didn't have any fruit. But it appears as though my guess would be Gil Bastar, because we know it's not, I guarantee it's not going to be Stussy, right? And it's not Gansby, we know, because he already has a fruit. Does that mean Gil Bastar actually has the hollow fruit? And that means when he has the extra arms, at least on Thriller Bark, that they're just zombie stitched on? Because I don't think we've actually ever seen him with more than one set of arms. Like, other than that, I think that is the only time in the story where we've seen him with multiple sets of arms. And I could be wrong. In the manga, we might have seen him with multiple arms more than once. But I think we've only seen him with multiple arms just at Thriller Bark. Either way, I guess he could still have multiple arms, but this is a pretty decent shot of him, and we're not seeing a second set, but we see that ghost right next to him with the same type of goony smile he does. So I'd bet it's from him, I'm sure we'll hear about it at some point. We then cut to another ship. It's a Marine ship. It says, calm down, Dragon. What do you think you're doing? As Dragon is literally jumping at one of the captains in the Marines and has a gun pointed at his face. Me? What about you? Do you condone this? The other Marines shout, Dragon, bring those survivors aboard. We're saving them. And if anyone's got a problem with that, I'll execute them. That's what Dragon's saying to the Marines. But this is Dragon actually pulling up instead of being on his L timing like he has been. He's finally pulling up. He couldn't save the babies. He couldn't do anything else, but he's going to save these civilians. And he's telling them, look, if you guys don't like it, I'll kill each and every one of you Marines. And he's probably going to get court-martialed after this. Or he's just going to decide to leave. And this is very clearly where his hate for the Marines come from. Now we just have to see exactly why he hates the world government as a whole, because he knows it comes down from them. So this is why the Revolution Army has to start. This is the starting point. And then odds are something's probably going to happen in the future with his wife, who is Luffy's mom, whether she is a Celestial Dragon or another slave, or something's going to happen to her, I'm sure, involving the world government and make him hate her more. We then cut to, this world won't end well, or this won't end well for you, Dragon. Bring it on, he says. Yeah, I believe that's actually going to be about how it goes. It's going to go just fine, because he's going to leave after. He's going to get in trouble and get court-martialed or whatever, but he's just going to leave. Rayleigh says, where are you going? Rayleigh, or the other pirates from the Roger ship, rather, shout, Rayleigh, Gabon, where are you going? Gabon, don't follow us. Sail the boat out to sea, and don't wait. This is just like what Zoro and Sanji would do if they knew it was this dangerous, and Luffy was here. We then cut to some ships sailing out, or at least maybe this is Saturn on the ship. I'm a little confused as to what I'm seeing. And then we cut to a big bubble saying, that island never existed. Is that clear? And it's showing Saturn when it's doing that. But isn't Saturn currently Emu? We don't have him in this chapter, so I can't go back and look. But it's like actually Saturn's face just darkened with Emu's eyes, which is really creepy. And then the narration box comes up. West Blue. The records kept by G11 and CP6 concerning the top secret level S special mission on God Valley and Sparse. The names of the participants of the human hunt were purged. Little is recorded regarding the site of the incident, God Valley. Information regarding the island's whereabouts, size, and population were also purged. The number of casualties remains unknown to this day. And then it cuts to somebody saying, Huff Huff, did you know the government had ties to that black monster? Seems like an affront to justice. I'm with you there. And I think these are the Marines saying this. And then it cuts to Roger and Garp again. If you want to leave the... Oh, no, this is Roger and Garp talking, it appears. Saying, Huff Huff, did you know the government had ties to that black monster? Seems like an affront to justice. And then Garp seems to respond, I'm with you there. Roger says, if you want to leave the Navy, you should join us. Garp says, hell no. If I quit, who'd protect the Marines? Respectable by Garp. He cares about the Marines who want to do what's right, and the good Marines, not the world government, these awful people. As they're both starting to get back up, Huff Huff, it's all about the mass, Garp. The mass? What are you talking about, says Garp. Cuts back to Roger again. Armament Haki can normally counter Devil Fruit abilities. And I'm using Conqueror's Haki too. Or using Conqueror's Haki coding to boot. So there's no way my attacks aren't doing anything. Huff Huff. And then Garp says, it's because he's also using Conqueror's Haki to guard himself. It's not a surprise we'd cancel each other out. If we don't overcome that, the damage won't go through. But he's saying the mass, so what does that mean exactly? Let's continue. Cuts to, we'll lose sooner or later if we keep trading blows like this. We simply can't match a monster in a battle of attrition. So next time we use Conqueror's Haki, we should channel all of our mass into it, he says. Yeah, don't worry about how crippling the aftermath will be. If we do that, we probably won't survive this, says Garp. Roger says, either way, it'll take all three of us out of commission. And if we don't land this, it's all over, says Garp. This looks like Rocks punching the ground. And then we cut to them. Hey, Rocks, I don't know if there's any words that'll comfort you at this point, says Garp. I don't know what's happened to you, but I do know one thing. I can feel your frustration, he says to him as Rox is crying while fighting them. Roger, funny enough, looks like he's crying too and wiping his tears. We don't see that Garp is crying, but Roger seems to be crying. This is no time for tears, you dolt. Kagusuchi! And then Garp says infinitum, and then Rox is just yelling Vo. But it's crazy because it's like Roger's like swirling his sword back here, and then Garp is it looks like he's literally doing like a Gatling, just punching over and over again. And that means also Garp was probably crying too, considering Roger said this is no time for tears while he's crying, wiping his face. This is awesome. So Roger's attack is called Kagusuchi's Ace, which translates Kagusuchi is the Shinto god of fire. That's a little ridiculous, because that means he's just named an attack something like essentially Fire God Ace. And then he named his son Ace, which is also the name of his sword, so that might be why he called the attack this, maybe, and why he named his son Ace. But then his son, Ace, ended up getting the fire fruit. That's kind of funny to match the fire god. That's just Oda writing all this to be funny. And odds are that means there's probably fire coming off of this attack. It's kind of hard to tell because what we're seeing... And then Garp's is called Infinitum Explosion. And they literally look like insane, flaming, massive punches. And Roger's looks like an insane type of slash attack. It looks like they both hit him, and it looks like they literally are punching holes through him and cutting him in half. We then cut back to narration. The world government tried their best to bury this incident in the shadows. However, the disbanding of the chaotic crew, led by Rox D. Zebek, would leave an undeniable echo. The Rox pirates destabilized an entire era, and the tremors of their legacy would continue to shake the world. A legendary incident uncovered. And now we're going on break next week. This is the end of the chapter. Really awesome panel, honestly, with them blowing Rox away. I like the attack names. I really like them getting them coming together and doing this fight here. Roger and Garp against Rox. This is really cool. I kind of hope it doesn't end here, but I think it is going to end probably around right here, at least this part of the flashback. We might cut to seeing them, like, the different groups escaping the island and where they go from here. But honestly, it might, after this, just not tell us, and it might be more that we find out, kind of piece together later, as we already know what a lot of these pirates went off to go do and what happened to them. Captain John probably left, later died after a mutiny. Gensui later dies at some point because he's on Thriller Bark, right? Gilbastar, same deal. Stussy joins Mads, right? So there's lots of, we know where a lot of them. Gloriosa ends up back on Amazon Lily. You know, so we know what happens to a lot of them, so we might cut around to that. If not, we might finally see about cutting away from this. But I don't think so, because even if they take out Rox here, Emu should still be there. Emu Saturn thing, whatever, should still be there. So we'll see. It does look like their attack blew down the rest of the mountain, so the whole island's literally just crumbling apart for the most part. Does lead me to believe, based on how tore up it looks, that, again, almost more reasoning to be how this could end up being. God Valley could be like Thriller Bark, the island that it's made from, because they're both from the West Blue. I still don't believe it, but now that the mountain's not there at all, it's kind of like Thriller Bark doesn't have the God's Valley's mountain. Oh, look at that. Really good chapter, though. I'm looking forward to seeing where we go with this, but we're going to be on break. There is a lot to go over, so I'll definitely try to make another video talking about this, or maybe what all is going on, what I think is going to happen next. But like I said, I imagine we're either going to cut to them sailing away, a bunch of the groups probably, and then probably the Garp and Roger continuing to try to handle Emu in that situation. And then when that comes to a conclusion, we'll pull back and we'll have an understanding from Scopper, because Scopper tells him, or is telling, essentially the reason we're getting this whole flashback is Scopper wanting them to understand how the hockey works. It's Oda wanting us to understand from Scopper's perspective how the hockey works, while also giving us a backstory he has promised us he needs to write into the story, and he's having Loki tell it, even though he's not really telling this part of the backstory, because it all just lets him do it all at once. But we're going to see how they're able to hurt the Gods Knights and people with these types of powers. And right now, all we're hearing is that if you from him was if you use Conqueror's Haki the right way, you're able to hurt them, is what he told Luffy, and they essentially just poured all their Conqueror's Haki into these 2 attacks and were able to do real damage to rocks. So I'm assuming they're going to come to that conclusion, see that, and they're going to figure out how to do that. Maybe they'll try to do it to Emu Saturn too. Who knows? If not, they'll at least communicate it to Scopper, and that's how he's able to communicate it to Luffy and them. Polo Graham is a pretty interesting of the Polo Pirates. Never heard of the Polo Pirates? I don't think we had any word of them. I guess they were just followers of the Rocks crew. Because he already said he was a big fan of Newgate. Yeah, but he looks just like Marco, so he's going to be... Excuse me. He's going to be Marco's dad without a doubt. He literally has the same head, same hair. He just looks like an older version of Marco, so I'm sure that's exactly who it's going to be. Now I'm just curious what happens with him. How he has Marco and how he dies. But anyways, we'll do another video. We'll try to keep this one a little short. We're already around 20 minutes. If you guys made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, listening, doing whatever you did. Go ahead and give the video a like, comment. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It really does help support me in the channel. It's the only thing that lets me know that these videos are reaching anybody and that you guys are enjoying it. I will come out with another video this week, and I'm going to try to continue to post more content where I can. Thank you guys so much for any views and really anything I get from you. And I hope everybody's had a good week and has a great week to come, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.